All right, so I'm going to record this so we can kind of go over it later, or we can share it out to others. Thank you so much for coming. I'm Carol Easter. I'm the digital media and art instructor here at San Jose City College. So thank you. Thanks for having me. And I probably know a lot of you that are watching this. I teach a lot of different courses, which are including art history, art appreciation, digital media, web design fundamentals, etc., and like drawing classes, life drawing, and more. And my background is in animation, as well as traditional art. So I kind of got all those skills to make me, I'll say, the best hybrid for online / computer doing things, digital painting, etc., and traditional painting. So what I wanted to do, and thank you so much for putting this on, Jabria, I wanted to talk about ePortfolios and the idea of creating a self-branded image for creatives. So the reason why I use the word creative here is that creatives is usually an all-encompassing term that branches out from whether it be traditional artists, photographers, anyone who's like really within the visual arts field. This includes graphic design, etc. So it's really the idea is for creatives, creative people. And now let me just move it forward here. Today's kind of a little agenda that we're doing today is we're going to talk about self-branding, the onlyness statement, how to know your audience, brainstorming and mood boards, and then we're going to go into some tools that you can utilize. Canva, which is kind of, I'll say, a really good introductory software, and now it's widely used since the pandemic, and like all of they went through a really heck of a campaign for marketing, but I have to say the product is good. So we'll talk and discover a little bit about Canva in utilizing some of their templates, things that you might want to use like for business cards, etc., logo making, and then picking a platform or a website to put your things on when it comes to creating a portfolio. So let me go ahead and we'll start talking about self-branding. Now, nowadays, we all are how do I say this? Like an image, a brand. You can tell with social media that there are certain types of things that people will try and limit their posts to, like, oh, I'm a food blogger, or oh, I'm a person that does, like, I don't know, family-oriented things, or maybe I just only post my music. This is a kind of a good start in the way of thinking about yourself and how to package yourself. And that's something that my mentor, Shannon Emniadon, an artist, she's kind of like an experimental / traditional artist, taught me at a very young age, is that you have to present yourself well in order to make sure that people can kind of really understand what you are. And then this is the idea of, you may be able to do so many things, but you need to brand yourself and have a certain image so people kind of know what they're going to get before interacting with you or even asking for your services. So one of these types of things I really like is the onlyness statement. And the onlyness statement is not exactly a mission statement, but it kind of is. It's pretty much like a one sentence elevator pitch, if you want to call it that, of this is what your business is, this is who you are, and what you're about. And it's something that can synthesize something that is many things. Like for myself, I can do animation, traditional, as I said, I teach all over the campus in different types of things. And how can I, or how did I kind of synthesize, I guess, my own image or what I perceive of myself into a kind of an onlyness statement? What am I about? So this is a short clip from Marty Neumer. He's the person that kind of came up with the onlyness statement, or at least branded it, because branding is everything in this way. And I just wanted to go ahead and take a small pause, listen to this. And what I want you to catch on about this video is how he's able to talk about, in the way of utilizing software sales or a software brand, how he was able to get them to realize what their product is truly about. So I'm going to go ahead and play the video there.
Hi, my name is Mike Ball. I'm a project manager and branding enthusiast at One Social Media, and I was recently fortunate enough to sit down with best-selling author Marty Neumeier, who wrote The Brand Gap, Zag, and The Designful Company. I got to pick his brain on a variety of topics, and here's one of his answers now. In Zag, you talk about differentiating yourself by kind of coming up with that onlyness statement. You're the only one I've ever read or heard say that, call it the onlyness statement. Can you kind of explain that a little bit and why it's so important to have that probably from the very beginning?
Well, I think I came up with a cool word for it, but I think I wasn't the first one to think of this, because in the 60s, 50s and 60s, there was the unique selling proposition by Rosser Reeves, who had an advertising agency. He was a partner. And so he was the first one to come along and say, all we do is like talk at people. We're like giving them a million reasons to buy products, but we can't give them one reason. We don't, and people can't remember a million reasons. They can only remember one. So let's figure out what the one reason is.
Right.
Right. And I think that's what this is based on. And so, it became, that caught on, and in the 60s, a lot of advertising agencies were figuring out ways to do it, but they weren't necessarily doing that at a company level. It was more like a campaign level, right?
Right.
So what I found out was that you can't do it at a campaign level because it's fake. You have to do it at a company level. And so why don't we start asking that question? And I mean, it just, when I came up with the word onlyness, it was just something I had learned by trial and error when I was doing a lot of software packaging. I was trying to get everything down to one idea so that all the other selling points could hang off of the big idea. And I started asking companies, what's the big idea behind this software product? And they didn't know. They said, well, here are the 5 things that it does, or the 20 things.
Yeah. I
said, well, why don't we pick one of these things that's really compelling that no one else can say they have? And then I started saying, what you need to do is zig when everybody zags, or zag when everybody zigs. And they went, well, that's a great idea. And so that led to this. And then, so I innocently put it in my book. And then I realized as I was finishing the book that this is the idea of the book.
Right.
And then afterwards, some people from really powerful consulting companies like McKinsey would come to me and say, you know what, I spent my whole life in this business, and in one sentence, you wrapped up everything I know. That simple sentence, so that's one word.
Right.
It's just, I'm slapping my forehead when I see it. So it turned out to be a good insight, but I just came across it from necessity.
All right. So what I wanted you to take away from that is, again, the idea of this overarching or kind of overhanging idea that your business, so if you're going to be a freelancer, you're going to have to brand yourself in a certain way, and you'll have to start thinking about your business in a particular way where you can figure out who's the audience, what am I doing this for? And it can't just be like, oh, I want any client that will come to me. You actually have to kind of plan for a certain demographic, a group of people that would be interested in your product. So it can't just be everyone. And even though everyone will like to come and everyone would want to utilize your product, commission you for different art, and or maybe you're going to be targeting a gallery or some type of other kind of art venues or schools, that's the thing that you'll have to kind of synthesize is how you want to present yourself to them. And in order to kind of figure out the who you are as an artist, or how you're going to present someone your work, if you're in a business setting, you'll have to come up with something that's like an onlyness statement. And I'm not saying have to, like you totally have to, but the idea is that you want something that's a structured item that you can filter all of your decisions through. So say, for instance, I'll bring your attention to this example, the larger one, where it's an onlyness statement that is for a Princess Tea Party business. And this is kind of like one of those businesses that can be franchised out, and they're trying to get people on board to it. So it goes, the Princess Tea Party business is the only training course that liberates you from 9 to 5, delivering a completely supported hands-on step-by-step guide to establishing profitable small business for busy women, moms, and parents in the US who want an income and a family during a flexible an era of flexible opportunities and work-life balance. So they want these people to be interested in their business. So I think, similarly, you'll see here in the bottom corner with Harley Davidson. Harley Davidson's and here's the structure of this, the what? Only motorcycle manufacturer. Now, I know that Harley Davidson is not the only one, but this is an onlyness statement. So you have to really remember that you are the only one that can provide this to a specific customer. You have to believe that you are the top cheese of everything. You want to really believe that you're like, okay, I am the only one that can, whether it be make invitations or create a customizable product, a design product for individuals, things like that. So you'll have to figure out the what are you creating? What are you making? What category is your business in? And then you'll go for how, well, the how is in the Harley Davidson's cases that makes big, loud motorcycle. This is the description or the differentiation characteristic for what type. So you go, what type of design are you making? Are you making, in this case, big, loud designs, maybe? Maybe are you creating different types of portraiture? Maybe you're interested in creating portraits of like dogs for people's families. This is something that happens quite a lot. What are you making, basically? And then the who are for, and then that's going to be your intended audience. So that's your customer. So for Harley Davidson, it's for macho guys and macho wannabes. And the where is wherever your localization is, like an actual geographic market. And then the why is, this is going to be the dream. This is the need state. What is your customer need? So like in the way of Harley Davidson, it's people who have the dream of wanting to join a gang of cowboys. For the Princess Tea Party people, it's for busy women, moms and parents, and then you have the when, and it's during, and then you find an underlying trend to have that market feed into. And again, this is the idea of, you take that dream of your customer and you say, okay, but what is that thing that's gonna really, tug at their heartstrings, and say, hey, this is really what, this is why I want to do business with this person. They get it. And for Harley Davidson, it's in an era of decreasing personal freedom. And you can see in the Princess Tea Party example, it's in an era of flexible opportunities. So this is the dream. This is like the big thought that's going to happen. And once you kind of come up with your onlyness statement, and again, you can redo it. It's not perfect. You're not going to show it to anybody. This is really just for you. And you'll start thinking about who is going to be utilizing your product, or who are you actually talking to. So the idea is knowing your audience. Now, for business purposes, you'll probably enjoy these next few steps that I'm going to go over. But say, for instance, maybe you're targeting a college, maybe you're targeting some kind of gallery. So you can also think about, like, when we talk about the audience, you can also talk about it in a larger, more than one person group. So with taking a look at this process, and this is a research process that you can do in order to kind of find your audience, you have to figure out who you're talking to. And what I like to say is you want to dream up or imagine the person that's going to be utilizing your business. So is this person, what does their day look like? Do they get a coffee in the morning? Are they rolling out of bed? Are they a work at home person? Are they someone who's like really busy so they can't make their own graphic designs? Things like this. You want to know your audience and who you are talking to. This is the same thing goes for like if you're making a portfolio geared towards applying for jobs as well. Say for instance, I'm not going to apply with the same portfolio for Pixar as I am going to do like, a Bethesda video game company, or what is it, the manufacturer of Candy Crush, right? I'm not going to give them the same product because I really want to make sure that I'm catering to whomever I am creating that portfolio for. So you might actually have multiple portfolios, and you might actually have different, I'll say it like this, like stage presence when it comes to how you're presenting yourself to those different places. But you do want to make sure that if you can, to brand yourself and the type of things that you create, especially if you really, really know where you want to end up. Like some people, they really want to work at Disney, and then I mean, there's a certain type of look that a Disney feature portfolio will have. And you have to cater to all the things that those places are looking for. So again, knowing your audience, knowing what they're going to expect from you, and that of course is going to take research. So knowing who you're talking to, this also is something that you can probably do as well if you're interested, is why don't you research people who are already working in the field that you are working at, right? You can, saying, oh, I want to do graphic design. You can probably find every graphic design person. Or if you're saying, oh, I want to do animation, you can find every type of animation. People usually will have their portfolios online nowadays. So you can actually find, like, for me, I used to read the movie credits at the end of, the DVDs, or, now you can do streaming, right? And then you look up the people's names and see if they have their, if the art directors, etc., and see if you can find their websites. You can do that. Same thing with graphic designers. That's going to be something where you can actually look up the company, and sometimes you'll be able to find out who's done the graphic design. You might even find that they're aligned with a graphic design firm, which is, like a large marketing agency that you'll work with. So that's a lot of different things. So going back to the idea of, if you're going to think about your audience in the way of their needs for these big companies, if you're going for those, you'll need to research what they already have and what types of things that they'll probably need in the future. And that again is by researching who actually already works there, and then looking at the portfolio, seeing what type of design influence that they might have and how they presented. That is it's a good thing to do if you're going to look to work in a studio or an agency like level environment. You want to work at your own, not at your own projects, but other projects. Now, say for instance, if you want to do freelance, this is the type of customer profile research that you'll have to kind of imagine. So you'll imagine a person that, just like, maybe you can make it up. You can say, okay, I want a person that doesn't, money is no object to them, or maybe I want to market myself towards like, a hardworking individual where they want to, they don't want a lot of redos, but they want to buy like templates from me. Things like that. You want to see what type of person are they going to be. Is it going to be a very hands-on person that you want to work with, where they want to have multiple checks of your product, before the end? Or say, for instance, if you're targeting a gallery, again, just like what we're talking about with the movie scenario, you have to go to the gallery physically, introduce yourself to the people that work there, see what types of work already exist in the gallery, and think, am I a good fit to even put myself out there for this gallery. Because for art spaces, and this is when it comes to marketing yourself for a gallery or marketing yourself for a studio, advertising agency, they're going to look for the things that work with their loneliness statement. And if you fit in to that, that's what they're going to be seeing. Can you be a good team player for their companies? But when it comes to your average consumer, you'll really go through all these questions, or most of them, and then kind of imagine a person that you're targeting that would be able to find your thing. So is this person, internet savvy? Is this person someone that works in the tech field? Is this a person that is like for small businesses and they just need like a logo or something like that to get them going? Is it like for small bakery businesses? Is this going to be a child-friendly style kind of business that you want to work with? And again, you need to really start thinking about how or what type of like person is going to be on the other end as a client working with you. And then afterwards, you kind of figure out all of these things. You'll kind of analyze that data. And if you want to, this is something that is optional for pretty much everyone, is, maybe do a small profile board. So for visual people like we might be, is you might find a little picture of something. So it's like, is it Lady Gaga that, the celebrity branding, right? So Lady Gaga wants a graphic designer, and that's you. So what's her day like? What's her target thing that she wants for you to make? How often do you want her to subscribe to your services? What type of services does she want? This is, again, what you kind of learn about trying to figure out the lifestyle of this fictional individual. Then if you want to, you can, of course, write it out, just regular paper, kind of like you're writing a little story. Now, you don't have to do all these things, but these are some questions that you really need to start thinking about for yourself. And then that's where I really like to kind of go into the brainstorming phase and then the mood board phase. For brainstorming, you just have to make a little cloud. And this is a brainstorming cloud that, again, you have your loneliness statement, you're thinking about what your mission is, how you want to show your business to the world. For instance, let me see, I'm gonna pause sharing for a second. I'm gonna bring up my own website. I'm gonna stop share because I want to show you my own website, and I'll kind of walk you through what I envisioned out of my website. Here we go. And then this should kind of play to the decisions that I made and how I present myself. So let me just make sure it's on that main page. All right, I'm going to reshare again. All right, cool. So this is my portfolio. And this is the portfolio that I applied to the school with and all this other stuff. So what happened was I went through and I said, okay, what's my loneliness statement going to be about? And I really wanted myself to look and seem friendly, approachable. I wanted some kind of quirk to show my interest in different things. I like learning about Japanese and Japanese culture, so I have that there too. I have my contact information here at the front, but the ideas that I was kind of coming up with were all from my brainstorming phase. And when I was looking through my brainstorming, I was like, okay, I want to seem light, cheery, happy, right? So that's why I kind of landed upon this kind of easygoing blue style of color. I wanted it to be easy to read. And I wanted the viewer, and this is something that you'll see for all portfolios, you want it to present your work up front, and you want to make sure that you have, if you can, only your best work, visible. And I think that Some people get kind of tied up in like how much work you should put up. Like, should you put like 12 things? Should you put like, 20 things? I think that things are a little bit more flexible nowadays, but you probably just want to limit it to probably no more than 15 separate pages or projects for your whole portfolio, and you'll update it and you'll cycle it all the time. Now, as you can see, my style is, and let me see if I can bring that up a little bit for you guys. The resolution of the screen is rather big. But you can see, like, I like kind of wacky, zany, futuristic kind of things. You can see I also do traditional work. I love my Star Trek. I have some, silly animal like creatures that I've created. And then I have like, some drawings of like more sketches, doodles, and different character styles, because I market myself as kind of a person that is able to do character design as well. So because of that, you can see that it's animation oriented, it's full of life, vigor, and that's what I wanted to make sure that when I have like someone who is going to take a look at my website, that they're going to go, oh, okay, okay, what do I know about Carol? I think she's like pretty happy, energetic, things like that. Now, this is again geared towards a more, I'll say, family feature friendly entertainment kind of thing. That's the kind of style and that's the kind of work that I do. I don't do, there's a couple of things I like about, like, I like kind of heavy metal music sometimes, that kind of thing, but that's not like my main emphasis. Now, for others, like I had so many friends going through college, and they were into some really like drawing gross creatures and things like that. And that wasn't, that's just not me. And I think that that's where you will find and understand your niche. And when you go through your onlyness statement, you'll be able to define in that description area, you'll go, okay, this is how I want to present myself. These are the things that I'm really into. But in order to, and I'll go ahead and I'll get back to the presentation portion. Oops, sorry, one moment. There it is. What you'll see is that when I start kind of brainstorming, I'll put like in the middle that general goal of what I'm trying to create. So this is where you'll put your business name. Maybe you'll just put your name. It's totally fine to just present yourself as a person. If you don't have like a, let me think here, like a fake pseudonym, kind of like a pseudonym for your work. Some people like to go by that. That's also totally fine. Sometimes that helps take the fear out of presenting one's own work. So as you can tell from that, you'll just go ahead and I'll say write out all the different things and colors that you think of when you think of what you create. So say, for instance, if you already have a big portfolio, or you just have a lot of drawings and stuff right now, and you're not quite sure what direction, try and find those commonalities of like what you choose to draw, like the subject matter, etc. Like for me, I know that I draw a lot of girls doing stuff all the time, like whether they be action ones or not, but I tend to draw female figures. I like to draw humans. I don't draw animals very much. And again, that will help me, or when I wrote down all of these things, I was like, okay, happy, science fiction, lighthearted, all of those things allow for me to brainstorm the next thing. So then I start thinking about the idea of creating a mood board. And this is going to be the place where you take a look at your brainstorm, take a look at your onlyness statement, you're filtering it through those things. And you're going to find out like this mini mood board here. You'll be able to define, of course, your company information and name. You'll have some inspirational images. Now for inspirational images, you can say, put your own images there, just like your top 3 or top whatever images that you want. You say, these are my best ones. And this is actually like what I want to create. because sometimes I think like when we're doing class projects, you really don't like have like a great time doing things until you get to a project where you're like, oh yeah, I really liked that. Then you might want to put that in there, or you might want to put inspiration images of where you want to go. Like for instance, the type of graphic design places that you want to work for, beautiful logos that you inspire you to create, or like cartoons or whatever that allows for you to go, okay, this painting, I would love to create a painting like this. This is the type of artist I want to be. And then you'll put that as an inspiration. So again, this is not going to be for anybody's eyes but your own. And then afterwards, you'll start kind of creating some ideas of colors. And what I like to do is say you choose 3 to 5 colors when it comes to like your color palette. So we want to make sure that we have like basically 2 main colors, and we're excluding black and white because that's like kind of a given. So, you know, like at least 2 main colors that will be like your main theme colors. And then you'll have like these tertiary colors that will kind of go with or add like maybe some like interest to, you know, your main color. So kind of like in, say that one more time. Oh, sorry. So say for instance, with your, you know, maybe you're interested in creating like this party thing, this flyer that I made. So maybe the main colors are going to be, I don't know, like blue and then like this pink. And then if I had like a button or a link or something that needs to be in an alternative color, then I'm going to go ahead and choose from my other tertiary things. Or also you might remember like our college has purple and gold as the main colors, but then you'll see that there's like these tertiary colors that you might see from time to time, like this kind of lilac or lavender color, or instead of gold, they'll use yellow. Things like that, that will also kind of be a part of your color swatches, but you don't want to put like everything on the rainbow. You want kind of that main themed ideas, because when you get into website planning and also when you get into creating like maybe stationery for yourself, like business cards, that's when you're going to reuse these colors over and over again. And that will help it seem like a brand. And then finally, you'll have your 2 font selections. So you'll have a font style, like a header style, and then you'll have a body text style. Your headers, of course, are going to be like those kind of one-offs. It'll maybe be, you know, more bold. Maybe you might have more flourish to it. But then your body text is the one that has to be legible, like easy to read, that you'll be able to put those big paragraphs in and everyone should be able to read it pretty well. Now, I want to also mention that you see where it says hex, RGB, CSS. These are the languages for the color combinations. Like say, for instance, if you're in Photoshop, Illustrator, Canva, you'll see that they're going to be utilizing whether it be the hex decimal system color code or the RGB color code or the CSS color code. And the reason I wanted to kind of emphasize this is that in order for your colors to be the same across all platforms, you need to make sure that, say for instance, your blue on your website needs to be the same blue on your stationery. And in order to ensure that, you'll have to take note of the hexadecimal system or any of these other color codes, because that will be the most accurate. You can't just eyeball it all the time. You have to actually know exactly what color style that is. I'm going to go ahead and pause here before I get into Canva. I'm going to stop sharing. Is there any questions before I get on to the next portion? All right, cool. I'm going to just keep moving. I'm just resharing the screen so you can see. This one. All right, cool. So I'm in Canva, and what I want to talk a little bit about Canva is it's a really easygoing platform. It's free. You can get a student account. But what I like about it is it also has a lot of features for social media. So if you are interested in social media, then you can continue your whole idea of creating different iterations of your product for or your designs for your clientele, and of course for yourself or your brand. So what I wanted to do is I'll just show just a couple of things. The first thing is if you kind of go to Canva's website, I'm logged in, so it presents in this manner. And you can see that there's stuff for print, there's stuff for marketing. They have video editing now. This is kind of blown up. But for instance, you might want to hang out with business cards and then logos. If you don't have a logo quite yet, I'm going to be like this. You don't really need a logo. If you really you don't have to worry about it. You can have a logo. Notice for me, let me just go up here. I don't have a logo, but I have a font, So the way that I'm differentiating myself is on my business cards that I made for these, I have the exact font as this, and this is a WordPress site. So we'll talk about this. And I found the exact same font and made sure that I could put the same font on my cards, found the same color choices, and then made sure that they mirrored when I designed my cards the same thing. Now, for yourselves, if you're interested in those type of materials, you can just go ahead and click on logo underneath marketing. And then they have so many templates. So I'm just going to hit design a logo. And yeah, you could just go ahead and find a logo that serves you well. You can move everything around. You can change different color combinations. You can be a little bit more finicky if you want. I'm going to go ahead and add a color, and you can see there's that hexadecimal that I was referring to. So that again is translatable to Photoshop, Illustrator, pretty much anywhere on the internet. And for most design products, you can utilize that. And that's really all you need to do is just, make yourself a logo. Or if you want to, you can make yourself a card. I will say this, if you are creating business cards, and business cards are really good to have. But when you're creating business cards, I would say they do have a feature here in Canva to print your design. Too expensive. I was looking through a lot of these and I'm like, their printing prices are pretty high. So I would recommend probably getting a coupon from Vistaprint or Overnight Prints to actually print your own work. Yeah, it's a little bit too expensive for my blood, for as many cards as you'll get. And again, Overnight Prints, Vistaprint, they do really great quality stuff. So you can take this, Canva, and then you can download it for yourself. You can make sure it's in the correct kind of format that you'll need for wherever you're going to upload it to for printing. Or you can, of course, attempt to print it yourself, which I think we've all probably tried to do at some point. But I think I just eventually caved because I was like, after I buy the paper and find ink for my printer, it's a wash. It's better to just get them printed and professionally cut at that point. So again, I would say utilize Canva for creating easy logos or easy stationery for yourself. This also will be kind of cool because if you have your own little logo, you can put that on your resume. You remember it's a whole package. So if you're sending in a package where it has a portfolio, resume, and business card, then you want to be able to give it to someone and then they can say, oh, all of these pages and all of these things are from the same person. And it can be as simple as maybe it has a similar border or something that has the same font choice. That can be just enough. So you don't have to go as far as making your own logo. Again, it can be just enough to just utilize the same font in the same manner and have that positioned on the page with the same color combinations. And then that will feel more cohesive, like it's from one person. Now, that's really all I wanted to do and talk about, like when it comes to Canva. Just like, hey, check them out. They have good templates. You can also have social media templates if you're interested. But what I really want to kind of talk about is picking a website platform for you. And yesterday, Bridgegood came to campus, and I have that filmed. If anybody wants to see it, I'll try and share it out pretty soon. But what they were telling me is that their portfolio portion of their website is free. And I was like, wow, this is really great. And then they said that they don't own any of the contents like that you upload on the website. Whoo, that's a huge thing for us artists. So we'll talk a little bit more about this, but I wanted to just kind of get into this idea of finding a website platform and why you might want to take a pause and say, okay, before I really get into getting a website, I want to pay somebody for something, what am I getting into? The first thing is, for business purposes, you probably don't necessarily need your own domain name. So you don't need to have your name.com really until you start getting some traction. You can still get away with having it at WordPress or at something else if they have like a short URL. Now, when you are deciding to take the leap and getting your own domain name, then that could be really, really great because that's also going to help with, you know, how you're going to be found on search results. But most of these, and these are a lot of different places, you can house your portfolio on any of these platforms. Now, there's going to be pros and cons to all of these things. For instance, if you're going for something like Bridgegood, Dribble, and Behance, and ArtStation, those are going to be usually free, definitely for artists. You're only going to find other graphic artists and artists there. This is also, I did notice I don't have DeviantArt here. It's kind of, that's kind of becoming a, I don't know what DeviantArt's become, but it's not #1 anymore. So I'm going to say probably stay off of DeviantArt as your main portfolio site. But when it comes to like these top 4 that I'm talking about, these are like portfolio spaces that companies create, and everyone can post their portfolio contents on there. Now, that's kind of not great, because then when you get to that website, you'll see that people will be able to navigate easily away from your material because everybody's website is going to be there, right? Like everybody's portfolio is going to be there. Now, when you can get your own website in your own space, like a WordPress, Wix website, Squarespace, Canva also makes websites, and Vistaprint does, and also Google Sites. If you can get like those kind of websites together, then you're going to be in control of where the eyes are looking, the content of your website, and you can actually link more things to your space. And again, like all of these different things have different price points, so please do your research on them. I will say that I don't like Squarespace. That's my own preference. I don't like Squarespace. I put it there because it's highly advertised, but I'm not a huge fan of Squarespace because I feel like it's kind of hard to use. And even though they say it's easy and they have really good customer service, I found that it was really difficult for me to use. And I was like, I can't really tell anybody about this. So that's why I wanted to kind of bring it up. My favorites are WordPress and Wix. And Google Sites is also just fine. Again, you just want to have your portfolio somewhere where people can find it. Now, the things that you might want to think about before, you know, taking a look at those websites is website maintenance. So are you going to maintain the website? Is someone else going to maintain the website? You need to be able to actually work on the platform that you are, you know, creating on. So that's where the idea is you'll have that website space, but you need to be able to post and have it easy to use for yourself. So again, website maintenance is really important in that way. The second part is how much cost is it going to be to keep up? Is it a yearly commitment? Is it a monthly commitment? Can you get a deal once in a while? Are you going to pay for a domain name? Do you need a store? like, like a little shop that's attached to it. Are the templates that these web services provide, sometimes they're not free. So do you have to buy a template for it? So again, you want to make sure that you have a full understanding of what you're going to get into. I would say anything that has a free trial, take a look at it, see what's going on. But you definitely want to be able to test drive these platforms before actually picking one. And then these are my two favorites, which are, do you have what you need to create one? So a lot of us are probably like, oh, okay, I need a portfolio. And then it's like, well, I have a pile of drawings, or a pile of paintings or whatever, everything's all over the place. You actually, before you even like get the website, you need to pull all that together and go through it and find your best pieces and categorize how you're going to display them. Let me just take a pause there and then go back to my own website so you can see what I mean. For this, I have my portfolio front and center, but if you hover across this is a WordPress site. I have videos, storyboards, and then I have this random art feed. So for videos, it just takes me to my animation reel, some demos that I make for classes, my experimental animation. You'll see that I've categorized it where I have my storyboards. So it's easy for people to look at and understand. Also my animatics. And then I have this art feed, which is back in the day, it was cool to have a blog. So instead of posting to Instagram every day, I was posting here every day, or trying to give a better idea of like my general process to people and like how my little sketches kind of work, how my brain works really. So again, this is what you might want to consider thinking when it comes to how you're going to display your artwork. Now let me go ahead and I'm gonna bring back that PowerPoint. Let's see. Okay, I think I got it. Let me just go. There it is. Okay, cool. So then that's what I mean by like trying to figure out what you need to create. You need to figure out what you're going to display. If you're going to categorize it, are you going to do it like by paintings, graphic design, computer work, but you just need to get it all in one folder on your desktop. And then, take pictures of your work and put it just all in one folder, sort that folder, and then find your best work. Then finally, after you actually know what you're going to put into your portfolio work, right? Then you'll figure out, well, if I post to these websites, are they going to maintain the rights to my work or not? So like, I think people tend to scroll through the agreements, like for Instagram and Twitter, etc. They're like, oh, agree, I want to go on the platform. But they actually low-key own your work when you repost it there. So I don't think that they do it in a nefarious way, like they don't want to take your work and use it for their own. Maybe they just want that intellectual property just to have it in the, their back pocket or something. But this is something that you might want to be a little careful about by what you choose to post on social media, when you post it, and like whether or not if it's like a passion project of yours and you're planning to put it up somewhere, you want to like kind of show that you have copyright to it. We can probably have another session about copywriting your own work. But if you have like a big story idea and you don't want it to be stolen, you probably don't want to put it in any of those platforms. So that's where you might want to have a central website, or like Bridgegood says, there, all of that you upload will be you'll be the owner of the rights of that work. You just want to be aware of that can be a thing that on certain websites, they could own your work and you may not know. I think that also happens with DeviantArt. That's why I think I've heard some horror stories of someone going to Hot Topic, finding their fan art and wanting to, sue DeviantArt about stealing it. And it's like, well, no, actually, we do own it because you posted it on our website. So again, you want to just be careful about where you choose to post those types of things. Now, how do you kind of frame your website? I think this is kind of what you might already know. What's the main purpose of your website? Well, for mine, it was to get teaching jobs. So that's why I made sure that I'm a artist up front, and then also a speaker, a professor, that's kind of in my byline. So people know that this is a part of me and this is what I enjoy. So this is, again, going back through the onlyness statement. You might want to figure out, like, some defining ideas of, okay, is this a website that I'm making for people to get teaching jobs? Is this a website that is supposed to help me get, sales of my products that I'm making? Maybe you're making a comic or something. Is this website supposed to just show your like all of your work, so you can get into a school? What is the main purpose of it? So that's not even like your mission. It's not about your brand. It's just like who's looking at it most likely. And then after that, making sure that you guide the user experience so it's going to be easy for those people to find your information. So going back to, I think you guys can see this, my website here, I have my portfolio up front. It has the contact information up in center, including my LinkedIn, my socials. That's pretty important. The reason why I have them up here is because I know that HR people do not want to scroll up to the bottom of this page if they need to. So they want to be able to contact me, know where to find me, get a good view of me professionally, and then they're good. Now, curriculum vitae, that is a teaching resume. So if you're not teaching, you don't need the curriculum vitae, you put resume. Now for about, I have my artist statement, I have teaching demos, and I have my past student work. This is the stuff that, again, is knowing my audience. I know that the people who are going to be looking at this website are people that are interested in looking for me as a teacher. And that's why I put my YouTube tutorials. Again, most of those YouTube tutorials are for teaching. With the idea of guiding the user experience, you want to make sure that you elevate the things that those people want to see at the top. For us artists, it's always going to be the portfolio first. You need a little bit of a about, like what we were talking about with the artist statement, and you also need a place for your resume. Now, the other thing is SEO. SEO is going to be essential. This is search engine optimization. This is why you provide links to your other sources. So say, for instance, if you have a LinkedIn, professional, right? We're talking professional stuff. So LinkedIn, maybe you have a very, professional Twitter account, a professional Instagram account. You want to link all of those things together, not your personal one with like pictures of your dog, unless your dog is like a part of your art. That's possible. Again, you want to make sure that you're telling the story. If that fits your brand, then you should be fine. And the reason why you want all of these things linking back to your website, you also want to make sure that you label your images well. Like, say, for instance, you want to label your images like, for me, I have a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory redo on my page. So it's like, okay, if someone's Googling for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, eventually, if they are in Google Images, they'll find my work. And then when they click on it, it will link back to my page. So again, it will help elevate where the search engine can find me, AKA pretty much Google. And these are the types of things that we're talking about, of like what you should have on your website. Just think about it. You don't have to have everything, but galleries, like galleries of your work. Do you have multiple galleries? How are you going to arrange your work for your portfolio? And then services, prices. Are you taking commissions? How are you going to take the commissions? Are you going to just tell them to contact you? Do you have an order form? All of these types of things. Then you have reviews and testimonials. If you are doing this kind of as a freelancing online business, you might want to put testimonials and reviews of past projects, just to say, oh man, this person, they love it. You know, this person, they love to work with me. They always say that I'm on time and things. That's what you want on your website, because you don't really want to like rely on like Yelp reviews or third-party sources. You want to make sure you aggregate only the best reviews for yourself. Like, duh. You don't want the 1-star review from someone who's mad and didn't pay you. So you want to make sure that you have that testimonial from a person that's legit, and you have, again, you know, good a good feedback from. Are you going to have merch? Are you going to have a shop? We should have a totally different discussion about this. I personally love the idea of places like Spoonflower, Redbubble, Society 6, like these print on demand things, but you can actually utilize different places to just print off a bunch of things for you. If you're selling cups, mugs, cards, sets, etc., you can actually create merchandise for yourself. We can probably have a whole different discussion about that. But yeah, you can have a shop. Also, like if you know, sell your comic or something like that, again, that's what shops are for. And then contact information. Are you going to have it as a form? Are you going to have just like your email listed? Things like that for your contacts, or as you saw, mine is right at the top, because if you are trying to do a lot of job applications, you want your portfolio and the contact. They pretty much don't care about anything else. Yeah, and your resume, right? Yeah, I think those are pretty much the things that they care about. And you want to keep that website like easy to use. And then maybe you might want an about us, a mission statement. In this case, the about us can be a artist statement, like about the artist, and personalize it. Maybe you have a personal picture for yourself as well, whether it be professionally shot or not professionally shot. It just depends on, again, when you start thinking about your brand, it's like, are you the artist that cuddles their dog? You know, like I'm a fun person kind of thing. Or are you like the serious artist that's like having a black and white photo? You know, there's lots of different ways of doing that. And then finally, social media links. You want to make sure you have those links back, just what we were talking about with the search engine optimization angle. For my about, I took a professional JCPenney's photo of myself, and I put myself in a little suit or whatever, because I was like, I'm a professor. You know, I claimed it. And that was before I had my first teaching job over at Chabot College. So again, you kind of have to package yourself in a way that the discipline or whomever you're kind of going for understands. And even though I'm an artist, I really wanted to be taken seriously, especially because I started at kind of a young age. So I really wanted to be taken seriously, and that's why I took a professional photo of myself in that regard. Now to review, and then we'll wrap things up. And thank you guys so much for hanging with me today. The idea is we're trying to create a brand, and we're creating a brand of ourselves. Is it true to everything that we are? Maybe not. But if you think widely about some general themes of the types of work that you create, that's where you'll be able to kind of go, okay, I can kind of see what I'm supposed to, you know, represent myself as, or what I'm interested in representing myself as. Even if you do a lot of things, like you make jewelry, you know, for me, I make comics, I draw, I love drawing. I'm interested in art history. I love gouache, you know, all these different things in my brain. I love gardening now, which is interesting. It's a new thing. But again, like, even though you have so much and so many sides to yourself, you have to kind of like synthesize just some really general things about yourself and say, this is what I'm about. Like for me, I'm hopefully, you know, friendly, approachable, and I want to come across like I'm easy to work with, right? Something like that. And then going forward, once you kind of get those ideas about yourself on paper, maybe you do that through a brainstorm, you can start thinking about it in the mood board way and say, these are some inspirational images. These are like colors that make me think of, easygoing nature or, chill vibes, and this also kind of works with my work. And then you can go into Canva, and make something. So again, like, make a template of like a business card. You can start there if you want, and then see if you can find a template that will match your business card the way you've kind of created it. Like, you'll see also, and I'll show you a couple of things too, just before we leave, that when we talk about picking a website platform, there's lots of different spaces. And let me just go to ArtStation. ArtStation's huge. It's a place for concept art, video games, animation, people who create 3D models, like your whole everything is up here. But you can see that there's a lot of competition. And this is one of the reasons why I'm like, you can like create a portfolio here if you want, just to, again, help the SEO, like the algorithm of Google, to say, push your work to the top. Because it's like, oh, if you are on all of these websites, you must be pretty important. It'll push your name to the top. But this is also a really great way of finding artists to get inspiration from. But what I wanted to say, and I hope that it won't show anything weird, is like, notice that this has kind of like a, not exactly black background, but it has kind of like this graphite looking background. That is a vibe for this, what do you call this, like video game, people. This is like, if you go to multiple video game websites, you'll see that it's going to have like maybe Steam or something like that. It's going to have a black background, right? But then when you go to like a place like, let's just go to Pixar, they try to have one of these super corporate, right? But it's like this really like white background type of website. And I think that this kind of comes to and rhymes with this idea of like family friendliness. It's kind of open, maybe it's a bit less niche than like those kind of game and entertainment technology based websites. The reason why I bring this up is because there's some debate about how your work will display, if it's on a black background or on a white background. I would say you'll be the judge of kind of the theming of that. For me, I don't think my work in the work subject matter needs to be on a black background. I'm not trying to get into games. I'm just trying to come across family friendly, oriented, etc. But when I get into something like this, even though some of the content can be family friendly, you can see it comes with a little bit more of an edgy vibe, right? So that's kind of an aside, but I wanted to let you guys know that it's best to simplify your portfolio background space if you can. And you can just choose like white, you can choose black. Sometimes you can have a color associated with it, but I know that there's some debate over it. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring it up, is that you want to make sure that your work can be displayed without additional clutter, noise, and distraction. So that's another thing that probably for another day we'll talk more about, like the actual contents of the portfolio as well. But yeah, I think that's all I'm going to jabber on about today. I hope it was helpful to you. Does anybody have any questions or comments, or was this helpful? And you can chat if you want. All right, cool. Well, thank you so much. Jabria, thank you for having me. I will probably kind of organize some things together. Thank you so much. Yes. Oh, I'm so glad that you really enjoyed it. Yeah, because I think what we're going to try and do, me and Jabria were talking about it. Jabria is a social media expert, and I know that you're going to be like, no way, because you're so nice. But yeah, we're going to have to do some social media talk about how to post and how to keep a posting schedule, those kind of things. It'd be nice to see if we can get it done pretty soon. So we're rattling around some ideas. We'll probably come back again with more talks like this. And then I'm hoping to get a YouTube channel up and publish these so we can, you can always look back at them and stuff. But yeah, thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day, y'all. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.